Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mulakan kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan membaca ummul kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wasahbihi ajmain. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, ampunilah dosa-dosa kami, ampunilah dosa kedua ibu bapa kami dan kasihilah mereka sebagaimana mereka mengasihi kami di masa kecil. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat untuk diri kami, keluarga kami, agama kami, bangsa kami dan negara kami. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, berilah kepada kami kejayaan di dunia dan di akhirat. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang bersyukur. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Alhamdulillah, kita bersyukur pada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Pada hari ini kita dapat bersama sekali lagi dalam kelas kita untuk minggu yang kedua ya. Jadi pada awal minggu yang lepas, cuti awal Ramadan, so kita tak boleh nak buat kelas. Walau bagaimanapun saya telah buat kelas dengan kumpulan satu lagi dan merakamkan kelas tersebut. Jadi saya harap awak boleh tengoklah rakaman video tu. Dan sekiranya tidak boleh faham, maka boleh tanyalah soalan, apa-apa soalan kepada saya. Okay. So insyaAllah today we are going to continue our lecture. Okay. With intercompany transaction and balances. Okay, can you see the slides? Can you see the Excel file?
Yes.
Okay, so basically this is the lesson that we are going to learn this week. Okay. Okay, so we are given here a set of question. Okay, a set of question whereby the question comprised of a statement of financial position, statement of financial position for two companies, H and S, and then followed by statement of profit or loss of the two companies also, H and S, statement of profit or loss. Okay, and then we are also given the additional information. Okay, this one is actually the background of the question and this one is additional information. Okay, let us read the question together. Okay, so the question, the statement of financial position. Okay, we have two companies here. The first one is H that act as an acquirer and S act as an acquiree. Okay, the function as an acquiree. Okay, we can see from here the particular of statement of financial position, whereby it start with property, plant, equipment, okay, of the parent ataupun holding and of the subsidiary. Okay, 295,750 and 660,500. Okay, and then followed by there are three investments made by H in S. The first one is investment in ordinary share. Second one is investment in preference share, and the third one is investment in debenture. Okay, so it means H has acquired certain number of ordinary share, certain number of preference share, and certain number of debenture in S. So we can see from S statement of financial position that S is having 250,000 ordinary share, 150,000 preference share, and it has also here how many debentures? Debentures, 130,000 debentures. So from this one, from this ordinary share, preference share, and debenture, H acquired some part of the ordinary share, preference share, and debenture. Okay. After that, we followed with current asset. Current asset comprised of inventory, of the two companies, inventory of the holding 100,000, subsidiary 70,000, trade receivable 150,000 for H and 130,000 for S. Okay, and then we have here dividend receivable, dividend receivable in H column. So this dividend receivable is basically dividend from S, and this one is interest from S. Okay, and last figure for total asset is cash and bank balances 70,000 for H and 148,000 for S. So the total asset of H is 1,162,100, whereas for S is 1,008,500. Next, okay, we go to the equity side of the two companies. Okay, ordinary share of H comprised of 400,000 ordinary shares, whereas S is 250,000, followed by 8% preference shares. H has 100,000, S 150,000, followed by retained earning brought down 240,000 for H and 140,000 for S. And this one is profit for the year 99,750 for H and 40,500 for S. Other components of equity, okay, 30,000 and 90,000 respectively. And then, as I mentioned earlier, okay, there is 120,000 10% debentures of S, okay, followed by trade payables of H 194,350, S 150,000, dividend payable here, H 48,000, and S is 37,000, and interest payable is 6,000. Okay, basically 37,500 and 6,000 here is related to this amount, dividend receivable 25,950 and interest receivable 2,400. And then tax payable of the two companies 50,000 and 25,000 respectively. The second financial statement is statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Okay, the first one is revenue item for both companies, 500,000 and 300,000 respectively. Cost of sales, 250,000 and 110,000 respectively. And then loss on disposal of property, plant, equipment here. Okay, in subsidiary, in S, it has a loss on disposal of property, plant, and equipment. And then in H, it has three income here. Three income. And the first income is dividend income received from S and also interest income received from S. And it has also other income of 2,000, followed by distribution and administrative costs of each company and also finance costs of each company. Okay, so the profit before tax is 202,750 and 121,500. And then we minus the taxation 55,000 for H and 44,000 for S. Profit for the year is 147,750 for H and for S is 75,500. Other comprehensive income comprised of fair value gain on revaluation of 20,000 of H and 10,000 of S. And after that, the total comprehensive income is 167,750 for H and 87,500 for S. Other than that, H also declared dividend 40,000 and S 25,000 for ordinary share, and for preference share 8,000 and 12,000 respectively for H and S. So these are the statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss. Okay. Additional information, the background of the story. The background of the story. When the relationship between H and S exists. The relationship exists in 1st January 2014, whereby H acquired 75% of ordinary share of S. 75% of ordinary share of S on 1st January 2014 by paying consideration 180,000 cash plus 200,000 share capital. So altogether it is 380,000. On the day of acquisition, on 1st January 2014, the number of ordinary shares of S is 250,000. The retained earning on that date was 100,000, and asset revaluation reserve on the date is 80,000. In addition to acquiring the ordinary share, H also acquire preference share 60% at the cost of 90,000, and also acquired debenture 40% at the cost of 48,000. So these three we can check from the statement of financial position whether it is still the same. Yeah. Okay. So we can see from here investment in S, ordinary share 380,000. Is it still the same? 180 plus 200 is equal to 380, right? And then for the preference share, it's still the same. Okay, 90,000 here and 90,000 here. And the debenture is also the same, 48,000 here and 48,000 here. Okay, so that is the background of the acquisition. Yeah, background of the acquisition. Next is additional information. Yeah, additional information. Additional information here is referring what is happening during the year. What is happening during the year. So during the year, there are 5 additional information. The first one is, during the year, H sold inventory to S. Yeah, H sold inventory to S. How much? The sale price is 90,000. How H find the sale price? The sale price is found by markup. By making a markup of 20%. So basically 90,000 is after markup of 20%. Yeah, after markup of 20%. So there is a profit there. And the profit is basically 20% divided by 120% times 90,000. That is the profit taken by H in selling its goods to S. However, at the end of the year, half of the inventory has been sold. Half has been sold. Okay, it means another half has not been sold yet. And 100,000 still due from S. So S has not made a payment of 100,000. There is a balance of 100,000 not yet paid. Okay, so under the additional information number 1, there are a few things that we can analyze. Okay, the first one is intercompany sale of 90,000. Yeah, intercompany sale of 90,000. Secondly, there is a profit taken. There is a profit taken by H in the sale. And half of the sale has not been resell. Yeah? Half of the sale has not been resell. It means half of the profit is not yet realized. Yeah? Half of the profit is not yet realized. Okay, and number 3 is, okay, there is a balance of 100,000 still not yet paid by S. Okay, that is number 2. Number 2. On 10 October 2014, S sold a machinery to H at a loss of 1,500. So normally when we sell something, we are going to sell at profit. However here, yeah, we do not know what happened to the machinery, but the machinery was sold at a loss of 1,500. The machinery have a remaining useful life of 5 years. Okay, a remaining useful life of 5 years. So what is happening here? Okay, what happened is, okay, S sold one of the machine. We do not know what is the cost of the machine. We do not know what is the carrying amount of the machine. But what we know is there is a loss of 1,500. So this loss is, okay, unrealized loss. Yeah, unrealized loss that we cannot recognize between members of the group. Number 3, S paid management fee to H amounted to 2,000 and included in administration costs. So this cost is basically intercompany costs that need to be eliminated. Yeah, need to be eliminated. What do I mean by eliminated? Okay, a transaction between two companies, that is the parent and the subsidiary, need to be eliminated. In this one, in additional information number 3, S paid 2,000. So 2,000 is an expense for S, and it is a revenue for H. So this expense and revenue will have to be eliminated, or will have to be offset. Number 4, goodwill impaired 20% and 40% for the year ended 31st December 2014 and 2015 respectively. And lastly, accounting policy on depreciation is on yearly basis. Okay, so maybe it is very new for you. Okay, first we look at the two statements. Okay, two statement of financial position and two statement of profit or loss. Okay, and then we have to consolidate these two financial statements. Okay, and in addition to that financial statement, okay, we are going to prepare the consolidated financial statement for the group of companies. Okay, so what we have to do is, okay, number 1, we are going to calculate the goodwill first. Yeah, we are going to calculate the goodwill first. Okay, actually this has been included as part of the video. Okay, but for you, because we don't have class on Sunday, so I have to present again one more time this one, so that you can see the flow. Okay, maknanya kita tak bermula daripada tengah-tengah lah. We start from the start. So the calculation of goodwill, yeah. So the calculation of goodwill here is basically we are going to calculate the goodwill for ordinary share. Yeah, we calculate goodwill for ordinary share. So the goodwill for ordinary share, how to calculate the goodwill? The goodwill is basically the difference between consideration transferred and the fair value of net asset acquired. Yeah, the fair value of net asset acquired. So under the step 1, we need to include here the consideration transferred. The consideration transferred just now is comprised of cash 180,000 and shares 200,000, and the total is 380,000. Alright. Okay. Number 2, we should put here non-controlling interest. Okay. Non-controlling interest is basically another party. Another party. The first party is the holding that holds 75%. Another party is non-controlling interest that hold 25%. So here we have two parties, two investors at least. Yeah, the first investor, that is the parent, holds 75%, and the second party is non-controlling interest, hold 25%. So you can see from here, 75% is the consideration transferred of the parent, and here 25% is non-controlling interest. Okay, but we do not know the value of non-controlling interest until we calculate the fair value of net asset acquired. So now we list down the fair value of net asset acquired. The fair value of net asset acquired of subsidiary comprised of share capital 250,000 plus retained earning on 1st January 2014 100,000 and plus ARR 80,000 on the date of acquisition. We add the three together, 250, 100 and 80. Altogether it is 430,000. So 430,000 is basically fair value of net asset acquired. Yeah, fair value of net asset acquired. And fair value of net asset acquired is basically step 2 in calculating the goodwill. So after we have identified the fair value of net asset acquired, we can now calculate the non-controlling interest. Yeah, we can now calculate the non-controlling interest, and the non-controlling interest is basically 25% of the value of the net asset acquired. 25% times 430,000 equal to 107,500. Okay, now we add the consideration transferred and non-controlling interest of 107,500. Altogether, it is 487,500. And this amount is known as fair value of investment. So fair value of investment will be compared with fair value of net asset acquired. Of course, there is a difference, 487,500 and 430,000. The difference is 57,500. So comparison between the fair value of investment and fair value of net asset is actually step 4. That result in goodwill or bargain purchase. In this case, it is a goodwill of 57,500. Okay. Out of 57,500, the goodwill has been impaired by 20% in 2014 and by 40% in 2015. So we multiply 57,500 with 20% and 40% respectively for 2014 and 2015. Okay, so the balance of goodwill remaining after deduction of impairment is 23,000 only. Okay, 23,000 only. Okay, class, do you understand on how to calculate the goodwill?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so now you understand on how to calculate the goodwill. So we have to proceed with the next step. The next step for consolidation. But before that, let's look at this one, the analysis of the goodwill. Actually, the goodwill is belong to whom? In this case, the goodwill is belong to parent. Yeah, the goodwill, all the goodwill is belong to parent. Okay, because when we calculate the non-controlling interest, we calculate the non-controlling interest based on fair value of net asset acquired. There are two methods of calculating the non-controlling interest. The first one is based on fair value of net asset acquired, and secondly, based on fair value of shares of subsidiary. Since at this time, we calculate based on fair value of net asset, so all the goodwill belongs to the parent. Okay, belongs to the parent. Okay, so the amount of 57,500 minus impairment 2 times 11,500, 23,000, then the balance is 23,000. All this goodwill belong to the parent. Okay, and NCI do not share, okay, dividend, do not share goodwill at this time. Okay, in the next example, it will share. In the next example, it will share part of that. Okay, sepatutnya saya tunjuk yang ni. Tapi sama lah. Yeah. So this one, yeah. Yang tadi tak ada warna merah. Warna merah tu saya tunjuk kat sini warna merah, tetapi sama, benda yang sama. Okay. So this one, yeah. This is known as calculation of non-controlling interest under the partial goodwill. Okay. So what is our next step? Our next step is to analyze the financial statement. Yeah, analyze the financial statement of the parent and subsidiary. We are going to have two analyses. The first one is analysis of financial statement brought down, and second one is analysis of financial statement carried down. Okay, we go to the first one, analysis of financial statement carried down. Sorry, brought down. Okay, so in the analysis of financial statement, we are going to have a few columns. Yeah, a few columns, at least two columns. At least two columns. The first column is the column for group retained earning, and the second column is the column for non-controlling interest. At least two columns. But if we have more than one reserve, then we can put more columns. We can put more columns. So in this case, okay, we have three columns because we have asset revaluation reserve also. If you have only two items, that is group retained earning and non-controlling interest, then it is sufficient to have two columns. Okay. The first item in the analysis of financial statement, okay. Balance brought down here is referring to 1st January 2015. Yeah, 1st January 2015, because the financial statement is 31st December 2015. Yeah, the financial statement is 31st December 2015. Therefore, the balance brought down is 1st January 2015. So on 31st on 1st January 2015, okay, we are going to record all this. Okay, the first item is non-controlling interest. Non-controlling interest that we have calculated just now, 430,000 times 25% is equal to 107,500. This is the first item to be shown in the non-controlling interest column. So on the date of acquisition, NCI has 107,500 balance. Okay, next we are going to show the retained profit of S. Retained profit of S brought down. Yeah, retained profit of S brought down. So retained profit of S brought down, okay, from the question, retained profit brought down, that is on 1st January 2015. Okay, let's look at our statement of financial position. Retained profit brought down is 140,000, right? Yeah, 140,000. So this 140,000 will be shown here as, okay, retained profit brought down as at 1st January 2014. And then we have to minus the retained profit on the date of acquisition, 100,000. Yeah, we have to minus retained profit on the date of acquisition, 100,000. Why we have to minus 100,000? Because we want to know, okay, what is the balance of profit brought down after the acquisition. So on the date of acquisition, we have 100,000. After the acquisition, it means 140,000 minus 100,000. So the total amount of profit, yeah, brought down after the acquisition is 40,000. Okay, 40,000. And this 40,000 profit of S will be divided to group retained earning and non-controlling interest according to the percentage of shares. Okay, according to the percentage of shares. Ash holds 75% and NCI holds 25%. So this 40,000 will be divided, to two. The first portion is 75% and the second portion is 25%. Okay, 75% is for the group retained earning and 25% is for the non-controlling interest. Okay, 40,000, 75% is 30,000, 25% is 10,000. Okay, I hope you are following this one. Okay, and then we have also asset revaluation reserve of S. Asset revaluation reserve of S on 1st January 2015 is 80,000. 80,000, yeah, on 1st January 2015. And on the date of acquisition is also 80,000. So there is no change. There is no change from the date of acquisition until 1st January 2015. So when there is no change, the difference is 0. Okay. If there is any balance, we need to multiply with 75% here and 25% here. But since there is no balance, when we multiply with 75 or 25, it has no value. Okay. In addition to that, the non-controlling interest is also acquiring part of the preference share of the subsidiary. Okay, from the information given here, the parent is only controlling. Yeah, the parent is only controlling 60% of the preference share, and the balance 40% belong to NCI. So we have to put here 40% of the preference share of subsidiary. It belongs to NCI. That's why we put here under the column of NCI. 150,000 times 40% is equal to 60,000. Equal to 60,000. So after we analyze the balance of profit, the balance of reserves of S, we go straight to analyzing the balance of profit of Ash, the parent, and also the ARR of the parent. So, the balance of retained profit of Ash on 1st January 15 is 240,000 as shown in the question. 240,000 here. Okay, and we put here 240,000. And then the retained profit 1st January 15 will be deducted with the goodwill impairment. Goodwill impairment for the year. Goodwill impairment for the year 2000 for the year 2014. For the year 2014, that is 11,500. Why 2014? Because this is 1st January 15. Kan? Baru 1 bulan Januari 2015. Jadi kita tolak yang 2014 punya lah. 11,500. So what is the balance after deducting the goodwill impairment? 240,000 minus 11,500 equal to 228,500. Okay, that is number one for the holding, and second one is ARR, asset revaluation reserve of holding. Okay, so based on the question, the asset revaluation reserve is there any asset revaluation reserve of the parent? On 1st January 15, there is 10,000 asset revaluation reserve. Okay, how do we know that asset revaluation reserve is 10,000? Okay, because here, reserve here. Okay, the reserve here, asset revaluation reserve here is 30,000, the balance on 31st December. And during the current year, the revaluation is 20. So it means on 1st January 2015, there is a balance of 1,000. Okay, there is a balance of 1,000 there. That's why we put here ARR on 1st January 2015 is 1,000. Okay. Now we can calculate the total of each column, group retained earning, group asset revaluation reserve, and also non-controlling interest. Okay, so when we calculate the total, the group retained earning is 258,500, group asset revaluation reserve is 10,000, and total non-controlling interest on 1st January 2015 is 177,500. Okay, are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Next, analysis of financial statement, balance carried down. Okay, so we are going to put the same for NCI balance. NCI balance on the date of acquisition, NCI is 107,500. Okay, and the same goes to preference share. The preference share also 60,000. So these two is the same for the balance brought down and balance carried down, the same. What about the rest? Okay, now we are going to analyze the profit of S on 31st December 2015. So how much is the profit of S on 31st December 2015? It is stated here 180,500. How do we get this 180,500? Okay, this amount we get from here. 140,000 retained profit brought down plus profit current year 40,500. So 140 plus 40,500 equal to 180,500. Okay, 180,500 is because of that. So we get here 180,500, and don't forget to minus the retained profit on the date of acquisition. The short form is DOA on the date of acquisition, 100,000. Why we have to minus 100,000? The same reason. as we have calculated in balance brought down just now. Because we want to know what is the amount of profit after we acquire until the date of statement of financial position. So we have to minus the 100,000. Okay, so after we minus 100,000, then do you remember just now that the company just now S is selling one of its machinery at loss. Selling one of its machinery at loss just now, amounting to 1,500. Dia ada loss 1,500 tu. 1,500. This 1,500 cannot be recognized because the loss is resulted in from sale of machinery to its parent. Okay. Jadi dia punya loss tak boleh kita recognize. So when we cannot recognize this loss, we have to add back the amount of loss just now. Unrealized loss on machine, we will add back to the profit of S. We add back the profit. Okay, we add back the profit 1,500. Okay. At the same time, related to the unrealized profit on the machine just now, okay, the useful life, remaining useful life is another 5 years. So it means there is a depreciation that has already been understated. That has already been understated. Because when you sell, you lost 1,500. It means the value of the machinery reduced by 1,500. When the machinery value reduced by 1,500, it means your depreciation also reduced by 1,500 divided by 5. So 1,500 divided by 5 is 300. So we have to minus this depreciation. Yeah, we have to minus this depreciation in the book of S. So we have completely calculating, yeah, the balance of retained profit of S at the end of the year. So 180,500 minus 100,000 plus 1,500 minus 300. So it is equal to 81,700. So again, 81,700 will be allocated to the group retained earning and the NCI. So for the group, it is 75%. That equals to 61,275. And for the NCI, it is 25%. That equals to 20,425. Next, asset revaluation reserve of S. Okay. This one is not retained earning. This one is ARR. ARR asset 31st December 2015 is 90,000. Okay, is 90,000. How do we get this? This is from the question. Yeah. 90,000. So we put here 90,000. And on the date of acquisition, it is 80,000. On the date of acquisition is 80,000. So we minus 90,000 minus 80,000 and the balance is 10,000. So 10,000 is actually post-acquisition asset revaluation reserve. So this amount, 10,000, will be allocated to the two parties. The first one, group asset revaluation reserve, 75%, and 25% goes to non-controlling interest. Okay. Next, the preference share just now we have recorded. Okay. Financial statement of H. In the financial statement of H, This one is retained profit. As at 31st December 15. Edge profit 31st December 15 is 339,750. Where do we get this figure from? This figure we got from here. Yeah, 240,000 plus 99,750. So we add the two together. Kita dapat 239,750. So 339,750, and then we have to minus goodwill impairment 2 times. 11,500 for 2014 and 23,000 for 2015. Okay. And at the same time, when the parent sell goods to the subsidiary, it made a profit. It made a profit of 20%. 20% on cost. So just now, the profit is 20% over 120% time 90,000. However, half of the goods already sold. So the unrealized profit is still half of them. Therefore, we need to multiply with 50%. Okay, so the new calculation of the unrealized profit is 90,000 times 20% divided by 120 times 50%. So it is equal to 7,500. So 339,750 minus 11,500 minus 23,000 minus 7,500 equal to 297,750. Okay. And this amount we don't have to allocate to non-controlling interest because this is the parent's profit. And last item is asset revaluation reserve of H. Yeah, asset revaluation reserve of H on 31st December is 30,000. So from here we can calculate the total balance carried down of the 3 columns. Okay, of the 3 columns. Yeah. So the group retained earning total is 359,025. Group asset revaluation reserve is 37,500 and non-controlling interest is 190,425. Yeah, 190,425. Okay, class. Are you following?
Sir, nak tanya.
Yes.
Dekat analysis of financial statement,
Yeah.
yang under balance CD tu, financial FS of S kan, post,
Yeah.
URL machine dia tambah.
Yeah.
Depreciation machine dia tolak. Kenapa?
Yeah. Okay. Dia punya efek dia adalah terbalik efek dia. Okay, efek dia terbalik. Okay. Jadi cerita dia macam ni. Bila dia jual mesin kepada dia punya parent, sekarang ni kita kena tahulah ada dua pihak kan, subsidiary dengan parent. S is the subsidiary, H is the parent. Jadi bila subsidiary jual kepada parent tadi, dia kerugian sebanyak 1,500. Okay. Ya, itu pertama. Dia kerugian sebanyak 1,500. So dia charge dalam dia punya SOPL 1,500 sebagai loss from disposal. Okay, sampai situ agree
Okay.
Okay, sampai situ you agree. So persoalannya, can S recognize this loss? Can S recognize this loss? So jawapan dia, S cannot recognize this loss because the sale of the machinery is between S and H. Maknanya between members of the group. Yeah, between members of the group, dia tak boleh recognize profit, dia tak boleh recognize loss. So kalau dia jual at profit pun, dia tak boleh recognize. Kalau dia jual at loss pun, dia tak boleh recognize. So dalam kes ni, dia jual at loss. So tadi dia dah tolak daripada dia punya profit. So for the purpose of consolidation ni, dia kena campur balik dia punya profit. sebanyak 1,500. Sebab loss tadi dia tak boleh recognize. So dia kena campur balik. Itu yang pertama soalan dia kan. Kenapa dia campur balik? So dia campur balik tu disebabkan dia tak boleh recognize loss tu. Okay. Perkara yang kedua adalah depreciation of machine. Kenapa depreciation of machine kena tolak? Okay, jawapannya ialah mesin tadi bila dia jual at loss, maka value of the machine berkurangan sebanyak 1,500. Betul?
Okey.
Jadi bila mesin tadi berkurangan sebanyak 1,500, maka depreciation dia pun akan lebih kecil lah. Betul? Kan? Depreciation dia akan lebih kecil. So, maknanya bila depreciation lebih kecil, depreciation terkuranglah calculate. Maknanya depreciation tu under provided. So, berapa banyak dia under provided? Dia under provided sebanyak jumlah kerugian dia iaitu 1,500, okay, bagi dengan 5 sebab useful life dia 5 tahun. Jadi 1,500 kerugian tadi bagi dengan 5 tahun, kita dapat 300. So 300 tadi adalah depreciation yang terkurang. Kan sepatutnya depreciation 300 ni ada setiap tahun. Tapi disebabkan value of machine tadi telah berkurang, jadi depreciation pun kurang. So kita kena tambah balik depreciation sebanyak 300. Tambah depreciation means tambah expenses. Tambah expenses mean tolak. Tolak tu 300. Itu sebabnya 300 tu kita letak dalam bracket ataupun tolak dalam financial statement of S. Okay? Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. Jadi masa pun tidak mengizinkan ya. Jadi saya ingat saya akan record ni bakinya ni ya. Bakinya ni iaitu kita ada lagi beberapa item ya. Kita ada SOPL. Ya, kita akan teruskan ni. Tak apa, file ni saya dah bagi pada awak, tapi saya akan rakam ni yang bakinya ni iaitu statement of profit or loss, statement of financial position dan juga statement of changes in equity. Saya akan rakam dan saya akan bagi pada awak lah. Okay, is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, jadi untuk minggu depan, kan kelas minggu depan kita akan tengok ni full goodwill. Full goodwill. So full goodwill ni dia ada calculation dia berbeza sikit. Tapi dia bila kita dah belajar pasal partial goodwill, untuk yang full goodwill ni dia tak banyak beza dia, cuma beza dia pada goodwill saja. Okey. Jadi saya rasa macam tu kelas kita berakhirlah di sini dulu. Okey. Jadi tengok balik nanti video yang saya bagi semalam dan juga video pada hari ini insya-Allah. Cuba video ni mungkin petang sikit sebab video ni dia lambat dia punya download dia. Okey. So saya rasa itu saja kelas kita untuk hari ini. Kita sudahi dengan surah Wal-As. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihat wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, sir.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.